KUGAN CASSIUS here with Steve Collins. Steve, this week, man versus machine. Frank Buglioni faces the biggest fight of his career so far against Fedor Chudinov. How's he been in camp, Steve?
Absolutely amazing in camp, very positive. We couldn't ask for him to be in better condition than he is right now, both physically and mentally. He's at his best.
Obviously, speaking to him over the last few weeks, he quite accepts that he's the underdog going into this fight, and some people have written him off, but people shouldn't be writing him off too soon, should they?
Well, it's great he's going in as the underdog, and it's great that people have written him off because it takes the pressure off him. You know, if the pressure's on the champion, because the champion's being told that it's an easy fight for him, but they're making a mistake. I mean, we're going to see the best of Frank Buglioni so far in his career, but believe me, when he lifts this world title, he's going to continue to improve, and he's going to go on to be one of the greats.
Steve, obviously when the first fight was originally announced, some people were saying that with the level of opponents that Frank had already faced in his career and the amount of fights he's had, that this fight had come too soon. Is there a small element of that in this fight?
Absolutely not, no. I mean, we looked at Chudinov's career, we looked at how he performed, and we're absolutely no doubt that Frank Buglioni will at least match him, but we believe Frank is a more talented and better fighter than him, and we think this is the right fight at the right time for Frank.
Obviously, Fedor Chudinov beat Felix Sturm, but hasn't had that many fights. He's had less fights than Frank, in fact. But have you been impressed by Chudinov in general, Steve?
Absolutely. He's a world champion. He's a very good fighter. He's very determined. He's strong. He's got that tough Russian mental attitude, and we don't underestimate him or put him down in any department at all. We think he's a very good champion, and it's going to be a tough fight, but that's what we have prepared for.
I mean, we saw what happened to George Groves recently, similar to Frank's weight over in America. Couldn't quite pull it off against Badu Jack, but Frank Buglioni hoping, that this doesn't happen to him and he can succeed. He's got the fight at home, so, we've got things in his favour.
First of all, I thought Groves won the fight. I'm still adamant that he was around the head. But so we won't really, the argument there is I thought Groves was champion at the end of the night, but he didn't get the title. But Frank is fighting for this fight, we think Frank has got more ability and more talent than Chudinov, and we're going to show on the night. Chudinov is a very, very good fighter, and I mentioned that earlier, but he can be a bit one-dimensional. Frank Buglioni can box, Frank Buglioni can fight, and you don't know what to expect on the night with Frank because he's got the ability to change his style.
Since coming over to you, have you had to do a lot to sort of change Frank's style, or what have you done to actually improve him? You feel, you and your brother?
Well, my brother Pascal is the main man. He's the head coach, and Frank went over to Pascal. I mean, Frank had a good career with Mark Tibbs. We inherited a world-class fighter, and all we've done is added to what Mark Tibbs had already done. So we've just taken the Mark Tibbs fighter, a great fighter, came to our camp, and we've just added more to it.
Steve, I'm hearing there's talks of you against Roy Jones that could feature on this undercard this Saturday. Is there any truth in that, Steve?
Well, it's an early knockout. I mean, people have paid a lot of money to come to the show. I'm willing to hop in and finish off the rounds with Roy Jones if he's up for it. It's up to him. But I guess he won't, because a leopard is not going to change his spots. And he's been running for 20 years, and I reckon he's going to continue to run.
When you two come head-to-head at some point this weekend, or Thursday or Friday, I'm sure if a late deal can be done, why not stick on BoxNation?
Absolutely. All the promoters out there, this fight will be the biggest sell out there. Everything about it is interesting. From the old grudge that's gone on for 15, 20 years, right up to the age element, the talent element, boxer versus fighter. Everything's there to sell. We both want it. We just don't know whether BoxNation can afford it.
I'll have a word on your behalf, Mr. Collins.
Well, if you cut your wage by a quarter, I'm sure there'll be plenty of money left over for us, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Steve, thanks for talking to the CASSIUS and Herald show, and best of luck with Team Buglioni this week.
Absolutely. Frank Buglioni is going to lift the title Saturday night, and London's going to have a new world champion.
Certainly hope so. Thank you very much.